right. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. A good Friday night for some super speedway action here on Speed Racing Network. I'm Greg Olenek, as always, here with Brandon Domain. Brandon, are you excited to get out there at Daytona International Speedway once again, but in the Xfinity cars this time?
Yeah, just adding a little bit more power, a little bit less downforce, I should say, to these cars, make them dance around a little bit more. But it's one of those weekends, a whole lot going on at Daytona in real life with the 24. They had the Pilot Challenge going today and all that. We've got racing at Daytona on the oval here tonight with the Xfinity guys going for some big money here in this single race.
Yeah, they just had a really big weekend this past weekend here on the iRacing server. The 24 hours of Daytona just took place, and man, a lot of records were broken with that, and hoping to see the same here tonight, a record turnout. Hopefully, not sure we're going to get a full field out there for tonight's race, as everybody's got different things going on here and there, and also some more winter weather heading towards the East Coast, so it's a bit of a sticky situation out there, but we got a good field for everybody. It's about 32 to 33 drivers, and a lot of cash on the line. Brandon, you've raced in one of these, the first one they had, and it's pretty nerve-wracking out there staying with these guys for 75 laps now, not 100 anymore.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure that you kind of don't really think about. Once you get into a season in a series like with SRN or anything like that, you're kind of sitting there thinking, all right, think points. This is just one shot. And with these cars at this style of racetrack, it was at Talladega in the first race, you're just riding around just hoping things don't blow up in your face and ruin your chance at cashing in on those top 10 spots or maybe getting lucky with that random draw that wins as well. But it's just a whole lot of just trying to feel your way around, making it to the end of the race. We had some issues with that in that first one. Second race kind of cleaned it up a little bit more. I think these guys that we have a mix of some SRN guys, some non-SRN drivers as well, and I think everybody's kind of feeling each other out and starting to know each other's tendencies, and that's going to lead to more and more clean racing.
Yeah, people also learning about the hard part of the rules, and that's the incident rule that these guys are having to face. And 13 points can sneak up on you in a flash when you're in super speedway racing, and it gets us, we kind of forget about it when we're here in the booth and we see these cars just disappear, but we've been seeing that a lot the last 2 weeks, and that's something that these guys are also going to have to worry about.
Yeah, and we have to worry about it because we lose the ability to see a replay sometimes with how these things work. Because once you get that 13th point or beyond that, if you wind up getting multiple points on an incident there, that disqualifies you. You're just booted. You're gone, and that does affect what we're able to see as well. But that was one of those things. I think a lot of people learned in that first race. You have to make sure that you have more than 4 points left in reserve. That if something does happen on that final lap, you can kind of push the issue a little bit. Be a little bit aggressive and trying to pick up those positions on that final lap. But if not, you're having to really be cautious to make sure that you even get a shot to finish the thing.
Yeah, people think that super speedway racing is just super easy, and that is not the case. You got to be smart and pick your spots wisely when you're out there and make your moves accordingly. But before we get out there on the track to see our field, let's go ahead and give a quick shout out to our sponsors that make this possible for Rat Pack Racing, Cash Dash, and Elite Performance Industries, putting on the Halfway Award. A driver that leads at the halfway point going to come away with a setup of their choice, Flavor Bomb. As always, check them out at fbbbq.com. They do great things over there. Sparkle and Shine Mobile Detailing has been a staple here at Speed Racing Network all along. Allie.Duke at minivanvacations.com. If you need a travel agent, check her out. She knows what she is doing. And Dave Jr. Graphics puts out some amazing paint schemes. Go check him out and see what you can get from him. Dave Fuge does great work for everybody out there. But Brandon, it's time to get out there and see what we got. And on the pole, it's going to be John T. Wimbush here tonight, coming away with a time of 50.304. And just to his outside, going to be Tristan Bailey. Zach Deuscher starting third, and Tommy Haynes going to round out that top four.
I'm on to Zach Deuscher there with that orange, black, and white 20 car. That looks good out there. A little weird seeing that combination of number on the track as I'm up here. But, but we got Bo Tiffany and Michael Madden in row number 3. Row 4, we'll have Craig Lautenschlager and Sebastian Arias in 7th and 8th. 9th and 10th, Tyler Murray and Lucas Lyons. And then rounding out row 6, Kyle Spies and Chris Bishop.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and check out the rest of the field. Starting 13th, Drew Ballesteros, a normal name seen here at Speed Racing Network. John Doc Holliday, he's been here for all 3 races. He's going to be starting 14th. Michael Amenti going to be in 15th. Wayne Rayborn Jr., says Larry there, but goes by Wayne, going to be starting in 16th. And then we got Troy Techmeyer in 17th. Brandon Key in 18th. Nathan Nixon going to be 19th, with Robert Anderson rounding out that top 20.
And 21st will be John Osborne. Joseph Peters will be in the 22nd position. Row 12 will be Jamie Plord and Danny Dow rounding out the top 24. A little bit farther back will be Andrew Santo in the 25th position. Jason Tripp in the 26th spot. Matthew Richard in 27th with Austin Reedy to his outside in row 14.
Yeah, and then Brandon Domain starting in 29th tonight. Brandon Brownie going to be 30th, Bobby Anderson 31st, and Rob Yost in 32nd. So that is going to be our starting lineup here with Aaron Roth there in 33rd. Don't want to miss him. He is going to be on the back row of this field. So it's about that time. We're going to get started here, Brandon, in 75 laps in these Xfinity cars. These are our favorite cars as we've raced these for a few seasons now. It's going to be a good one out here tonight with these guys.
Oh, yeah, and I really love the way that these cars handle. You do have a little bit more ability than I think people really know of to be able to kind of do a little bit of bump drafting on the straightaways. You can definitely mistime it, though. You do it at the wrong point, these cars will easily turn around because they are light in the downforce, the lightest of the 3, in my opinion, and all of the NASCAR levels that we run in SRN and here in the Rat Pack series as well. So there's going to be an ability to be a little bit aggressive, but you also have to be very cautious at times. It's very timely when you want to be pushing the issue.
Yeah, and another rule change that these guys are going to have to, figure out is they're also just running 50% fuel loads now. So off the bat, these cars are going to feel really light in the back, and that's something that people also forget here at the super speedways is the lower you get in the fuel, it's just going to feel like you're kind of just floating through the air, but obviously that's not the case. So see how that works out as we get ready to take the green, and the green flag is waving. We are underway at Daytona as John T. Winbush takes the field around for this first lap.
Nice tight pack there. Nobody really getting too far ahead. I was a little bit worried there for John Wimbush in the lead position in that Texaco Haviland car out in front, because he did kind of move away a little bit there. I was kind of wondering if he was going to get a run early that was going to go against him, but he is still leading that inside train. Everybody playing very cautious right now, keeping it down to 2 lines. See a couple guys kind of flirting with the idea of 3 wide there, about 6 rows back. But aside from that, everybody is sticking to side by side, looking like a high-speed pace lap.
Yeah, Tristan Bailey trying to keep up on that outside lane to keep that front row spot, but he might have his hand cut out or his work cut out, if Zach Deuscher can clear him, but that's not going to be the case, as now he is getting a good push from Tommy Haynes in that 17 and Michael Madden in that 224 car. So that outside row starting to look pretty good as we complete that first lap. And we got a battle up front, as we will probably see all night. And I keep thinking that is you, Brandon, in that 20 or that 20 car.
I mean, my name showed up there in 29th somehow. I got a car that looks like mine out there in the 3rd spot. Definitely not a spot I was in a whole lot in the Xfinity side this past season. But, yeah, as we watch, we've got Tyler Murray that's going to be dropping back. That is a strategy that you do see. A lot of guys will try to run that qualifying lap, get out in front. But if they find themselves sitting around that 10th, 15th position where they're just not comfortable with the pack racing, they will kind of hit that apron, drop back, and just kind of bide their time. We're still going to have at least 3 pit stops in this race because of that 50% fuel. A whole lot of time to be moving your way back up through the field.
Well, I might bring on the broadcaster's curse here, Brandon, but something I like that I'm seeing so far is a little bit of space between each driver, not a lot of pushing at this point, which is kind of what the admins have been kind of pushing on these guys is, why are we racing so hard at the beginning of these races? But just as I say that, you see them get really tight, and Bo Tiffany going to give a good push to that 20. He's got to be really careful there. You saw him get a little bit out of line there, but luckily Bo Tiffany's smart enough to get out of the gas and kind of let him reset himself there.
Yeah, the old rule of thumb, don't push the pusher. And at that point, Bo Tiffany was getting very close to pushing Zach Deuscher, who was pushing John Wimbush, as he got pushed into him there. So that was a little bit of accordion effect that you get a little bit careful of. And I think that little bit of gap that we're seeing between the bumpers is kind of twofold. One, it's very early in a 75-lap race. I think people have learned over the last 2 races in this that we saw about half the field get disqualified in one of them because of the incident points and because of wrecks and not being able to continue. You don't want to be seeing that in a race. So I think there's that cautious optimism or cautious mindset in this one. But I think the other thing is the incident limit itself. You catch somebody the wrong way, or if somebody kind of checks up and you get into them a little bit harder than you intend to bump them, that can give you incident points and sometimes 4x out of that 13x. And you could be a third of your way out of those incident points just from a mistimed bump draft.
There you see it crossing the stripe at 187 miles an hour. So even though this is the B car, they still pull a great amount of speed around this track. And the low downforce with that small spoiler makes these things a handful. But, man, I have a blast driving these whenever we're out there. But so far, like we keep saying, these guys doing a great job getting around the track smoothly right now. But right now, Tommy Haynes giving a big push to Tristan Bailey, pushing that 003 Bud Light car out to the front. We'll see if Tristan drops down, and he does. Oh, he's got to be real careful as he clears the 56 of Wimbush. And we have a caution flag out there on the track.
Yeah, it was a little bit farther back. Not sure if that was the accordion effect behind everything that was going on, but I think it was in that second pack, and we see a lot of carnage out there, including the 11. I believe that's Brandon Key there. We got the 111 as well, and that's Austin Reedy. So a couple big names that we have up in the SRN side of things that with some heavy damage. We see a good handful of cars really torn up here.
Yeah, let's see exactly what happens back here. Riding on board with Brandon Key, we saw him involved in that in the 11 car, and it happens just in front of him, nowhere to go at all.
No, and I really think that kind of started up front with that little bit of a checkup that we saw at the very front of the field, and we'll get a better look at it here. It might not be the case, but it just timed out perfectly for it as we ride on board, and no, it was just a little bit of contact there. Might have got somebody loose and turned straight into that wall, and then that just started that big chain reaction behind.
Yeah, it was Michael Aminti that got a little bit loose here in the 25 car. Might have got a push here from the 002 of Matthew Richard. And that little push is all it takes to send about 8 trucks or 8 cars, I'm so used to the trucks being out there, down pit road for some significant repairs.
And that is exactly what we were talking about at the start of the race, where you can be a little bit more aggressive just the way that these cars line up and how they shape out with each other on the straightaways. But the worst place to actually try to push somebody is on entry or exit of a turn, because that's where these cars get significantly lighter and they just get unstable, and it's not a comfortable position for those cars. A slight bump can really turn it around like we just saw.
Well, yeah, taking a look at Tristan Bailey and the rest of our leaders coming down pit road, they're going to come out and get 4 fresh tires, as you usually do here under caution, and fill that fuel up to get it as far as you can. Like I said, only have 50% fuel load, so that is not going to be too many laps for these guys to go around and have to come back down under green flag. So Tristan having a really long pit stop here. He is going to lose a lot of track position, probably opting to just go to the back for now.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I think you saw the car move up, and obviously with the graphics, you don't see the pit crews moving around or anything like that, but you saw the car go up. He took tires. I don't believe anybody else, especially inside that top 10, 15, took tires. They just went fuel only, especially up near the front, and I think he possibly saw that and just decided, you know what, I'm not going to sit in the middle. I'll just go straight to the back and just hang out here on pit road until everybody comes off.
Yeah, taking his time, just letting everybody go by, and he is going to go to the back of the field. And that is going to give us an opportunity, Brandon, to take a little bit of a commercial break. So we will be right back after these words.
Want to be a part of an established league on iRacing? A league that's competitive, fun, and above all fair? Look no further than Speed Racing Network. Originally known as Mid-South Madness, SRN has evolved into a league that can bring the best out in any given driver. Drivers work their way up through the ranks to hopefully one day call themselves a champion of Speed Racing Network. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out to league admins to claim your spot today, and maybe you'll end up in the history books. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor in Speed Racing Network, feel free to head over to www.speedracingnetwork.com and reach out to an admin today. And as always, remember to go faster.
All right, there you go. If you're interested at all in joining Speed Racing Network, just head over to speedracingnetwork.com and get your spot today. Only a few spots left in our Cup Series, brand. It's starting to fill up really fast, as it usually does. This is a top-notch league with top-notch talent, and we have a lot of fun here.
Oh, absolutely. And, the truck side, the Xfinity side, it's already booked, but there's always reserves that are available. So jump on to speedracingnetwork.com, figure out any possible way in there. But the Cup Series still have a few spots available there, especially I know there's a couple teams looking for some people as well. So that's always an opportunity there as we come right back here to Daytona just a couple we've got, 3 weeks until we get ready to go in the duels on the 22nd for the first time we ever do that in Cup, Truck, and in Xfinity.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool, and unfortunately won't be broadcasted because yours truly will be on vacation, but still going to be a great race nonetheless. And it's going to really set up an awesome week of actual Daytona points racing starting on March 1st, kicking it off with the Cup Series as always on Tuesdays, and trucks will be run on Wednesdays, and Xfinity will be on Thursdays. So it's going to be an exciting Season 3 here at Speed Racing Network, but we got some business to get to here with the Rat Pack Racing Cash Dash before we get to that point in the season. But pace car lights are off. We're about to go back to some green flag racing, Brandon.
Absolutely, getting ready. And it's going to be Lucas Lyons and John Wimbish that are going to be leading the field to the green here as we get our first restart of the night at Daytona.
Yeah, Lucas Lyons going to have that inside lane. John Wimbush going to be out on the outside this time, a little bit different than what he started at the beginning of the race after starting on the pole. So see if Tommy Haynes can give him a good push. Seems like that 17 that is Michael Madden in the 224. A lot of orange cars out there today. Going to have to get used to that.
Yeah, everybody really liking that orange scheme right now as Lucas Lyons pulling that inside line pretty well here. They're going to be clearing perhaps the first two cars out in front of the lead car on the outside, which is still Wimbish, as now that outside line starting to gel really well, get really tight together, and that outside line getting the big run here. Wimbish trying to move right back out to the front.
Yeah, he's got to be careful not to move up too far. He might collect that outside lane and really cause a big one here at Daytona, and that is not what we want to see as we're only on lap 9, coming to lap 10 this time. But, man, that outside lane is really moving as Wimbish is able to clear Lucas Lyons and now reclaims the lead on the bottom side. But he's going to have his hands full with Michael Madden now getting a good push on the outside. He's got to be careful. Lucas Lyons going to opt to get out of this as it was getting a little dicey up there. But Michael Madden and John T. Wimbush really battling it out here up front.
Man, that is a huge, huge moment there, and Lucas Lyons just did a big, big favor to everybody in the field from third on back with that one. Could have easily come right back up onto the racetrack and been a little bit off speed and really checked up that entire field, and we would have likely seen one of those big wrecks, but he decided to just back it off right around the apron and try to jump in at the back of the pack and stay with this group, but he's going to have a tough time doing so, but he really sacrificed himself for the good of the field on that one. Really close moment, but in all that, Michael Madden to the front.
Yeah, you see how separated this pack really starting to get. We've only got about 14 cars up here in this lead pack, and then everybody else is going to be a little bit further on back. We got a pack of 2 cars here with Robert Anderson and John Holliday, and then Tyler Murray on back to Austin Reedy, Tristan Bailey, Joseph Peters, Jason Tripp. These guys all opting to get a little bit of distance from that lead pack that's kind of dicing it up right now.
And that is a strategy that these guys can do. I think everybody in that group really just saying, you know what, we're going to see another wreck. We're going to see something happen where a caution comes out at some point. It's going to bring the field back together. And that's the thing that we talk about a lot when it comes to the super speedway races. We see those two different styles of mindset. You can attack. And Michael Madden 2 weeks ago said, you know what, if I'm going to wreck, I'd rather wreck being aggressive and going for it and being up in the front than riding around in the back and getting caught up in something. There's also some guys that think, you know what, I want to make it to the last 5 laps and have a shot where I can really be aggressive. So they're going to ride in the back and just be cautious until that point. And wow, a little bit dicey there as we saw the 36 of Kyle Spees shooting the gap there in the middle. Got a little sideways there, but able to keep that thing straight as we're still 3 wide there for about 5th place.
Yeah, Kyle Spees is my former teammate, my former crew chief spotter, and I've run a bunch of races with him in super speedways, and he always finds his way up to the front. So no surprise to see that 36 moving his way towards the front of this pack, and a lot of Rev Racing drivers at the same time doing just that. Brandon Key, a Rev Racing driver, Michael Madden, a Rev Racing driver, and Kyle Spees, a former Rev Racing driver. So all these 3 guys are very familiar with one another, and like we said last week when this happened, it could be dangerous for the rest of the field.
Always. If you're used to somebody's tendencies, or if you wind up in the same Discord channel, there's a certain amount. There's only 5 drivers allowed in each channel. If you're in the same channel, can communicate with each other, and you know the tendencies of somebody, that just gives you a big advantage on a racetrack like Daytona or like a Talladega. And that just gives you so much more speed because you can be able to work together and kind of tandem attack everybody through the field. As we watch Brandon Key leading the way, and we do have the one faster pair in this race. Obviously, he took that given the damage that he had on that car after that caution. And what's kind of surprising me is seeing him be aggressive and moving up towards the front. He shot the middle 3 wide first before we saw Kyle Spees do that to try to get out in front. He's already burned that faster pair. Being aggressive after that this early in the race is a bold strategy, but it's working to this point.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the safest place sometimes is at the front. Like you said, what Michael Madden said, if he's going to be aggressive, he wants to do it moving up to the front. So the same to be said for Brandon Key is, like you said, already gone on that faster pair. And the same for Michael Amenti in that 25. He's burned his as well as a few other guys here in this lead pack. They're not going to just hang back and wait. This thing could very well go green, as you know, it very well could. It may not have in the past races, but it's very likely that it could as this thing's starting to separate about a little bit. But that backpack's hanging in there within striking distance. You know, if it does go the distance, these guys can still get back with that draft, so they're not too far off the pace.
No, they're definitely close enough to strike there on that lead group and not be out of the question of pulling back in. All they'd have to do is just tighten up and get single file, and they really are single file. They're just being very loose with it. They're able to keep the speed that they need to stay close enough. If you're really within about 0.7 of a second or so, you're still within reason of being able to really pull back up pretty quickly to a car that's in front of you or a pack that's in front of you. But if you're any off pace at that point, that's where it's going to be really difficult to do so. I think this back line's in a pretty decent position at this point. There's not a whole lot of passing going on. They're not slowing each other up a whole lot. So they're doing a good job at this point in the race, just being cautious, but not costing themselves a whole lot of position on the track.
Yeah, and you could tell just by the way that 98 moving through the field by himself, these guys are just kind of running half throttle to maybe 3/4 of a throttle at the same time, saving fuel. But these guys up here are really battling, and the leaders have no choice but to run 100% throttle. So that always comes into play too, how much fuel you can really save around these super speedways from just getting a big tow from these guys, as we see a jetliner back there taking off at the airport behind the track. Always cool to see that. But yeah, nothing changing much up here. Brandon Key still leading the way on the inside lane, and Kyle Spees leading that outside.
And one thing I like is, as I was about to say something there, and we start seeing them snake and move around a little bit, but I like the stability that we've seen for the most part here in this group. It's a lot of patient drivers, a lot of drivers that know, hey, if I'm on that inside line, just kind of hook it around that yellow line. You don't have to be doing anything too crazy. They kind of got a little aggressive there on that one, so maybe I just kind of curse that a little. But that outside line doing a good job. They're kind of using the seam and the lines and the turns to kind of guide themselves into a straight line where they're not kind of bobbling around a whole lot. This is a really quality side-by-side run, I think, for the most part. About 90-95% of this time, they've done a good job of just being very stable.
Yeah, something that we saw there just now, Michael Madden giving him a little push, and that is also a benefit to these guys that run all the time. They're in the same Discord channel usually, talking to one another very easily without even having hit a button, so he can tell him when he's going to be hitting him and just expect a little bit of a bump here. They're really working it out really well here up front. But Brandon Key unable to block the outside lane this time. Kyle Spees is going to get a good run. Michael Madden got to be really careful, though, getting a little loose entering one. He gets it under control. Could have been really bad for the rest of the field there, but gets it back, and it heads forward now as Kyle Spees trying to make a move for the lead.
I'll tell you what, I was just looking through the Discord channels here to see who was communicating with each other, and none of this group really with each other,
Oh,
actually.
see?
They're all kind of separated into different rooms. That caught me off guard a little bit there. But still, that familiarity with each other is going to go a long way anyway. I mean, you're looking at, our top four, the top two rows right now, all very familiar with each other at this point. Fifth and sixth with Wimbish and Arias, they're outside drivers to SRN, but other than them, the entire top 10 SRN drivers here in this field, a lot of familiarity with each other, and that does go just as far as being able to communicate, just knowing how somebody's going to be out there with their tendencies.
Oh, absolutely. As we see Michael Ominti getting a little out of shape there, and that just goes to show how light these cars are getting as the fuel load gets lower and lower and lower. I mean, last time these guys pitted was on lap 6. We're going to be crossing the stripe this time for lap 20, so they're going to be getting close to possibly coming down for these green flag pit stops, especially with these leaders running as hard as they are. They're going to be running out of fuel a lot quicker than the rest of the field, but as we see it, the backpack starting to string out a little bit more back there. Got to be careful not to lose this lead pack's draft, otherwise they might find themselves in a little bit of trouble and losing a lot of time each lap.
Yeah, and you can see it on the left side of the screen on our scoring pylon there. 13th place is Zanto. He's at 0.67 seconds off the lead. And then behind him, you're looking at Aaron Roth in the 30 car. He's a full second behind. And that's where we're starting to get, we got a little bit of smoke there. Somebody off the racetrack, but doesn't look like we're going to have a caution come
Danny
out.
Dow.
Now we
Whoa.
are.
Comes back up on the track and collects a few guys. That was a big hit. Not sure who he hit there, but no caution. Surprised to see that.
Well, the contact, I mean, a lot of the cars were off the racing surface, but we saw heavy damage on the track. Not sure. I mean, that's a tough moment. You hit the grass here, even on the backstretch. I mean, you're going to have no control in that car as you see Danny Dow trying to straighten that thing out and get back under speed. But we'll take a look at the replay here and see what kind of started this.
Get this for you guys. See if this is it. Oh, yeah. Comes up and gets John Holiday, I believe that is. Yeah, the 9 car, just nothing John Holiday could do, and really unfortunate as both of these guys going to be really behind the 8 ball now with no caution coming out there. Unlikely to see that, an accident happening on the racing surface there.
Well, and I think what didn't trigger that caution was the contact happened on the racing surface, but both drivers that had the damage there with Holiday, and I'm not too sure who that was, the second car that was to his outside, but they kind of kept it going straight and kept it up on speed. And so I don't think iRacing really decided that was on the racing surface at that point, so they just decided, or the server decided not to throw the caution, and that's really going to split up the field even more. And those guys that were behind Doc Holiday, who was sitting in, I believe, the 15th position, that's really going to break up that field even more as we see the leaders working their way around the 21, who's got heavy damage at this point.
Yeah, obviously Dow and Holiday both having to come down pit road to get that damage fixed because, as we know, Brandon, that can really hinder the airflow going through the front of these cars. It can blow an engine like nothing here as we see some action going on back here. Some guys, I guess, opting to come down pit road. Tommy Haynes, one of those drivers. That might have been the guy that you saw on the outside of John Holiday that last incident, but yeah, a little bit of a scattered field in the back here, and things starting to settle down a little bit as we see the 6 blink out there. Not what these guys want to see heading up here towards the front.
No, and one thing we can kind of touch on is a couple laps ago, right before that incident happened on the racetrack, I was using Santo in the 6 car as kind of that indicator of where the gap was between the front pack and the second pack. He was in the 13th position, now all of a sudden up in the 3rd spot, and that's with everybody really going single file here, so he was able to make a move of 10 spots without having to really fight too much. That's an impressive run, single file, being able to gain 10 spots in 2 laps like that.
Yeah, 4 drivers on pit road. Lucas Lyons, Danny Dow, John Holiday, and Joseph Peters all coming back out on the track right now. So Lucas Lyons, who started at the front in that last restart, now finds himself in the back and one of the first drivers to come down pit road to fuel up. So that gives me the indication that we could be seeing some more drivers opting to do the same here in the next couple of laps as we about to cross the stripe for lap 25, almost a third of the way through this race. Starting to go by pretty quick, Brandon.
Yeah, and it's given us that indication that it's going to be about 18, 19 laps that we're looking at on these fuel runs. And you can see these cars really starting to dance on the exit of the turns. And that's a big sign that they're really running light in that fuel cell. And let's see if anybody comes down this time. Not this time by for that lead pack. So they're still going to be going. We might be maybe pushing 20 laps here on the fuel. But we are seeing some of those guys make those pit stops. And as we take a look at Bo Tiffany, who's kind of stuck in no man's land right now. He's about 6 seconds behind the pack. He's got a little bit of help behind him, but not a whole lot. Yeah, that's a tough position to be in at Daytona.
Yeah, that's what I said. These guys want to avoid is losing that lead pack because these guys are all racing tight together, and that's only going to build that speed even more as there's less drag on these cars to slow them down. You know, the back pack has lost that draft and the ability to keep up with them. And, I mean, these guys are probably doing 5 to 10 miles an hour more than those guys without the draft.
Wow, still no takers, so they're still being able to click away these laps, and that's a big thing right now because, you know, we're past a third of the way through this race. We've got 50 laps to go now, and kind of giving us that indicator of what we're looking at the rest of the way, when these pit stops could be coming. If this thing does stay green the rest of the way, we're still looking at 2 more pit stops, but it could affect the timing of those pit stops and when people kind of get a little bit creative if they have some partnerships formed with some of these guys in the past.
Yeah, we're going to see exactly when they come down. They can't have much more fuel in these cars, but they're probably all wanting to come down at the same time to keep that draft and that speed that they have at the moment. See if they come down this time, but doesn't look like it. Maybe the 05 coming down, but all by himself, that is not what you want if you're Sebastian Arias.
That is a bad position to be in because he's going to find himself in that horrible spot of having less speed than anybody else. He's going to be by himself. We just saw Bo Tiffany in that similar position. It is a helpless feeling, but I am starting to hear some radio chatter now. It does sound like everybody going to be making their way down pit road this time, which is a little bit concerning if you're Ballesteros and Deutscher in the 54 or the 20. You're kind of sitting there on the outside. You got to find your way down to that inside line if you're trying to come in this time.
Yeah, we've seen people make it work before, as the 54, I believe, is going to be able to get down there on the inside. Zach's going to have to work with somebody possibly to get down there as well. There he goes. He's going to get down this time. We're probably going to see all these guys come down this time. See how cleanly they make it as we see a few guys locking it up. Oh, Michael Madden gets spun right in front of Brandon Key and Andrew Santo.
Oh, unlucky moment yet again. Brandon Key nowhere to go. Andrew Santo nowhere to go on that one. A little bit of contact. Believe that was Zach Deutscher and Michael Madden that made that contact there. Deutscher coming in a little bit hotter than Madden was, and that turned Madden right in front of the 11 and the 6, and nowhere to go for either of those guys. And if you're Brandon Key, you already use that fast repair. Any damage to the nose of that car is going to be just a crucial hit at this point.
Well, here's our leaders right now. Aaron Roth, well, actually, Austin Reedy being scored the leader. Not sure how he jumped up there, but there we go. Aaron Roth and Brandon Browning. I think our scoring's taking a little bit of a hiccup here, but we're going to see these guys come down this time. Aaron Roth coming down all by himself. We'll see if it sorts itself out after all these green flag pit stops out here.
Well, and either way, he's coming into the pit road now. The race leaders, or the pack at least, are on the back straightaway, gaining that speed now, and really getting back up to power. Here we go with Key and Santo working their way through 3 and 4. They're going to be pretty quickly making their way around Roth. The question's going to be, so watching everybody else out there, it is going to be Key that's going to be picking up the lead as they make their way through.
You just see how much scattered out this lead pack is, though. Just the 11 and the 6. Now the 36 going to also catch up here. But look how much time Michael Madden lost. He is probably not able to keep up with this draft. He's going to need some help from behind and have to wait for a few guys to possibly catch this lead pack of 3 cars. So we'll see how this works out. But so far, these guys making a run for it to try and get away from the rest of the field. And, wow, this thing has really taken a turn and has really scattered out a lot of the field. The cars everywhere on the track.
This kind of looks more like an early 90s Daytona. Oh, little tight moment there as they're working their way around the 005 out there. as
man.
it's Joseph Peters, and that blinking from Andrew Santos is very concerning. But either way, the side-by-side racing that we were seeing with Spies and Santo, that's going to help Madden and Techmeyer and Wimbish, who are now really pulling in and closing that gap in a hurry. And they also get that little bit of a boost there from the lapped car, being able to pick up that draft as well.
Yeah, Joseph Peters, the lap machine there, one of the first drivers to pit on that laps or that green flag cycle, so he's lost a lot of time and now finds himself the first car a lap down. But these two wanting to work together, obviously I said they were Rev Racing teammates, they're familiar with one another, and that is why Kyle Spies was making a concerted effort to get up there behind the 11. Also probably didn't feel very comfortable behind the 6 when he's blinking like he was, so these guys starting to make a little bit of distance here between themselves and the 6. Michael Madden trying to work with Troy Techmeyer there on the outside lane in that 32 Nebraska Cornhuskers car. They're trying to get up here towards the front, but unable to do so as Wimbish is able to clear them on the inside.
Well, and the tough part now, too, is the 6 car. You can see the damage on the nose, and with it being as brightly colored up front as it is with that shade of blue, you can really see the damage there on the nose from that pit road incident that happened. And aero-wise, he's probably okay if he's behind somebody. The draft is going to kind of kick the air over that damage and not really cause much of a factor. What I would be concerned with is the power. He's obviously going to have a tough time trying to lead a train of cars, and that's going to be very, very problematic. He's going to be very under pace on that part. But I'm curious if he's going to be able to hang on power-wise for too much longer when it comes to being behind somebody, and when that cutoff is going to be. He's not going to have that benefit of, 6/7 of a second he can pull back in. That's just not going to happen with that damage there up front.
Yeah, it doesn't really seem like he's able to really suck back up to the bumper of that 36 machine as much as he wants to. He needs to get closer than what he is if he's going to want to make a really good push here and get these guys really moving here. But so far, as I say that, he's able to get tucked in a little bit closer to that 36 as these guys go single file, probably all knowing, we don't need to be racing each other right now. We just need to get away from everybody else because, the top 6 is 4.5 seconds ahead of 7th place Bo Tiffany. So if they could just hold on to this, they'll be sitting pretty here as we near the halfway mark of this race.
And even better for them, they can sit there in this 7-car pack because they did pick up Peters, who is a lap down. And then you have that second group that's about 5 seconds behind them with 5 cars. It's another 10 seconds back to 12th to 16th. Everybody's kind of chunked into small groups, and they're all smaller than this lead pack. So the group that's going to be generating the most power out of anybody, if they stay single file and work together, is the lead pack, and that is going to be hugely problematic for anybody in the back.
Well, these guys nearing a lap car, you see, they see him up high. He's going to stay out of the way. That's the 88 of Nathan Nixon, who found himself in a little bit of trouble and losing that lead pack, and these guys are just going to blow right on by him like it's nothing, like he's standing still almost. That just shows the difference of having a draft, and I'm not sure if Nathan's going to try and tuck in behind him, but even so, I don't think he's going to be able to really latch on to that draft as, man, this 36 and 11 really working well together as they just build a gap between themselves and the 6 of Santo. I just don't think that 6 can really keep up with these guys.
No, I don't think he's got enough power. I think even, if you're kind of sitting behind somebody in the draft, you can kind of hold that throttle 80, 90% and be just as fast as the car in front of you. I think he's going to have to be mashing that throttle down if he's got any damage to the engine or he's got any heating problems. That's going to be the big concern, I think, is making sure that he's got enough air going through that and keeping the oil temp and the water temps down on that. But I don't think he's going to be able to get the same power. And the worrying thing for me on that is you're looking at possibly 2 cars up front that are trying to pull this group forward, but then third on back is kind of drifting where they're kind of slowing up this pack a little bit because they're not getting that power generated from the 6.
Yeah, so eventually they're going to find that out and opt to go on by him, but really not losing any time between themselves and the leaders at this point as Wimbish finds himself still behind that 005 Joseph Peters, who is a lap down. So our top 5 at the moment: Brandon Key, Kyle Spies, Andrew Santo, John T. Wimbish, and Michael Madden. And we didn't really harp on this, but these guys are racing for some big money here. I don't think they're going to get the full payout, but based on a full field, first place going to come away with $300 as we see a little bit of that Florida sun starting to shine through this cloudy day here on this track, so that's going to heat it up and make it a little slicker for these guys as that fuel cycle goes out. But yeah, first place going to walk away with $300, second going to get $100, third getting $65, fourth getting $40, and fifth going to get $25, and then sixth through 10th going to get their entry fee of $20 back for this race. So a lot on the line, and I'm so surprised that after the first two races that we've seen, it is a lot calmer out here on the track here tonight.
Yeah, but I think that is going to kick up here pretty soon, because look how much closer that second pack is starting to pull in. And even with the car advantage, the car count advantage that this lead pack has, I really think it's that power output in the middle of the pack that's really kind of hampering this group. I mean, they've got 8 cars in this group trying to pull it, and they're getting caught by a group of 5. That just does not happen, and it's closing in by about 3/4 of a second a lap right now, and that's going to intensify as they start sniffing that draft from that lead pack as well.
Yeah, I'm sure if these guys have any spotters or crew chiefs working with them on this race, they're telling them that. And I do believe you're right, Brandon. That 6 is really hurting this pack, as he has some significant front end damage on that 6 Toyota Supra. And Michael Madden has his own fair amount of damage too on the back spoiler, but not going to really hurt the downforce in, the overall draft of this pack per se. But they're there, and Bo Tiffany now making a move to the outside. They're going to go right on by these guys, sitting still almost, it looks like, as the 13's starting to move his way up. They're going to start seeing this guy and be like, hey, what's going on here?
Yeah, and for those that aren't as familiar and tuning in just to watch, that's not so much the power output difference. That's the power of the draft as well. They got to close in so much, picking up probably 3 to 5 miles an hour. And look at how much they've been able to just slingshot their way by 7 cars, 8 cars now, and Bo Tiffany trying to take that lead spot with the help of Drew Ballesteros. So we got one turn. It's Brandon Key.
Yeah, Brandon Key going through the infield, or excuse me, the extra racing surface down there, and no caution, as we've seen before. When it's off the racing surface, it usually does not put out the flag, and a little bit of frustration leading to him not being able to get it back under control. It seems like extra damage on that 11 after using a fast repair already is going to probably end that night.
Definitely going to end it competitively unless there's a lot of carnage that happens in the field. That is for sure, as he's going to wind up falling back to about the 22nd position as we got 22 cars on the lead lap. We'll take a closer look at what happened here, and it was a big run on that outside line. And I think Kyle Spies maybe just thinking, all right, well, let me give you a little bit more of a push, see if we can kind of contain that and stay out in front, and just kind of caught him at the wrong point. We talked about on exit of the turn is the last place you want to push somebody, and that's just where it happened. Right on the exit of turn 2, little bit of contact. That's where the car is the lightest aside from maybe the tri-oval, and it's just super easy to turn somebody around.
Yeah, so our leaders both taking a turn for the worse there, and now a new leader, Bo Tiffany, as he crosses the stripe to take lap 40. We're past the halfway mark, and man, he has made a surge to the front with the help of Drew Ballesteros. Now Michael Madden finding himself in third. Andrew Santo now in fourth, and Troy Techmeyer going to round out our top 5. So over the course of 2 laps, this race has completely flipped upside down.
Oh, big time. And now it's going to be a lot harder for some of these cars that have some of that damage, like the 6 car, like the 224 car, that they're going to find some help now, because that single file line, when they had a couple of lapped cars kind of spacing it out as well, that kind of led to a little bit of a safety net. Now we've got a little bit more racingness in this pack, some more guys really wanting to push that issue as we get past halfway, working to 35 laps to go now as we cross the stripe. And it's going to start building up a little bit more aggression, with everybody knowing that there's 1, maybe 2 pit stops, but very likely just 1 pit stop remaining in this race.
Yeah, so our top 9 really all racing up here in the lead pack. Then you see 10th place is about 15 seconds back. He's got a pack of 5 cars working with them as well, but that is not going to be nearly enough to get them back up towards the front, as we are running out of laps to do so. And this thing kind of indicating that this may stay green. We didn't want to jinx it at the beginning of the race, but so far it's been pretty green since the initial first caution on lap 7 there.
Yeah, I'm definitely surprised. And we talked about it at the start of the broadcast, though, that everybody kind of figured out, you got to make it to the end of the race. And everybody was being super aggressive at Talladega in the first cash dash that was going on here with Rat Pack Racing. And they were thinking, all right, let me get out in front and let me get to the halfway lead. Let me do all this. And it was just so aggressive. And about half the field was gone because of disqualifications from the incident count. And then the second race, that wound up happening again, but it was a cleaner race in the same process. And now tonight we're seeing a whole lot cleaner racing. Seeing a couple of those small incidents happen that didn't bring out a caution, but for the most part, this has been really quality racing for super speedway style for the Xfinity cars, especially with those low downforce as they are. We're seeing really good racing for the most part.
Yeah, just take a look at the track map here, showing pretty much just 4 packs of cars throughout the course of the track, and that they're like almost split up evenly. So if this thing stays green, this lead pack has it made, but they're going to have at least one more caution, one more pit stop under green flag if it does stay under green. So that could change things up as well, as we saw the 224 take a spin on that last green flag stop. Fortunately for him, able to stay with this lead pack, but things are likely to change before this thing's over, Brandon.
Yeah, and you know what? I actually think, looking at that 224, Michael Madden may have used the fast repair, and it might not have been by choice. He might not have had any damage on that car, and when he got tagged from behind on that entry to pit road, he might not have had a chance by the time he actually got to his pit stall and straightened everything back out. Might not have actually had a chance to deselect the fast repair, because that car looks very clean, so that fast repair definitely does look like it was burned.
Yeah, sometimes people forget to uncheck that thing, and then it uses it before you even realize it. And not the case that people want to use it. I think he would have been fine if he just kept the damage on the rear spoiler like it was, but nonetheless, he has a very clean race car out there, which so far is paying dividends. He's finding himself in third, kind of where he was running in the last race, and in prime position to make some money again here tonight. He has done that quite a bit here in the Rat Pack Racing Cash Dash, so why not do it here in the third race of their season, as he's following behind Bo Tiffany and Drew Ballesteros, who made a heck of a push up to the front. They don't want to lose it.
No, not at all. They are really taking advantage of that big run that they had, being able to pull themselves right up out into the front. But one thing I kind of want to do, and not to kind of direct anything here, but that second pack, I'm just kind of looking at some of the names, and it's not names we've really talked about a whole lot here in the Rat Pack series in these 3 races. You know, they're being led right now in the 10th position by Robert Anderson. I believe this is his first race here in this series out of the 3rd race. And then we got Greg Lautenslager, Bobby Anderson, Aaron Roth, and Brandon Browning, names that we have seen, but we haven't really talked a whole lot about them. They've been kind of riding around there, maybe in the top 10 at times, maybe around that mid-pack through most of these races that we've had here in this 3rd one, but they're sitting in a pretty solid position to be up in the running for some possible money here at the end of this race.
Yeah, and they aren't losing time on this lead pack. If anything, they've gained a second or so on the lead pack, but still going to be really hard to make up 14 and a half seconds. But Brandon, we've seen it already. Things happen here at super speedways, and they are far enough back to where if something does happen with this lead pack, they will not even be close to being affected by it. So this could pay off big time for these guys back here, running from 10th on back to 14th in this pack.
No, it could be huge, and they might not even need a caution. You know, we've saw, Brandon Key get turned a little bit there, and not a caution doesn't come out. We saw the Danny Dow stuff come out, and now his pit stop starting here. Bo Tiffany, and he might be coming by himself just like last time, and that is a huge hit here for the 13. He came in early on the last cycle of pit stops, and that's going to set him up in a very bad position here. But staying out in front, we're looking at Ballesteros in the 54. Everybody else out here, where I was going with it before, is they can still be caught without a caution. One car gets sideways, kind of breaks up this pack or causes people to really check up heavily, and all of a sudden they lose all that momentum. That second pack can really close that gap.
Yeah, I'm really worried for Bo Tiffany's sake that he might be in some trouble here as that lone car coming down from the lead. Like we said not too long ago, the next pack is 14, well now 15 seconds behind this lead pack. It's not like there's a safety net for, if, whoa. It's the 05 gets way out of shape. He's going to go through the grass, and that is not going to be what he wants. He's not going to be able to make it on pit road cleanly. I believe that's going to be a penalty for him as he was trying to avoid our leader, Ballesteros, pitting that time. Woo!
Oh, that is a hard moment there, and he had to do it. You know, he had to kick out to the outside just because there's nowhere he could really go at that point. You know, it's either slam into the back of somebody or you're trying to go around them, and it's just mistiming the entry on the pit stops. Everybody has different braking points in mind. Everybody has different aggression levels, and you're seeing it here in a group of 5 cars as well. Everybody kind of attacks it differently getting onto pit road, as see Kyle Spees in this pack as well. Brandon Key, they were both caught up in that incident that didn't bring out the caution.
Oh, Trip overshoots his stop.
And that's going to be really hurting there, because that's a second and a half that he's going to lose with the rest of this pack. That's enough that you're not going to close that gap back up.
Well, coming off pit road, Michael Madden assumes the lead from the 54, gets a really clean stop, and now finds himself out in front. Michael Madden, Ballesteros, Bailey are top 3. As they got some lap cars coming up here full speed on their outside, the 111 and the 7 of Lucas Lyons. They're going to be trying to get their lap back here and work with these leaders a little bit. But right there, Michael Madden gets the lead and finds himself out in front, coming to the stripe with taking lap 49 right here.
Seeing a little bit of a dicey moment, a little slide coming out of turn 4 there from Austin Reedy and Lucas Lyons as they're pushing each other around, trying to get back onto the lead lap is the intent, or they're 2 laps down, excuse me. They're trying to get back to 1 lap down once everything cycles out, but Drew Ballesteros is going to be sitting right behind them thinking, all right, don't push too hard and cause something right in front, as he's got some nice spacing here now, as it's going to be him, Michael Madden, and wow, that's getting real dicey there as they work their way around Nathan Nixon. Yeah. But you got the top 3, and they're going to have a pretty good gap here behind anybody else, and they've got drafting help as well.
Oh, man. That's the 05 of Sebastian Arias, who we saw running up here with this lead pack and had to go and serve a penalty after missing the pit entry to avoid the 54. And you see how badly that hurt him. He's now sitting back in 25th and a lap down. But Brandon, I'll bring up a scenario for you right here. They pitted on lap 46 and 47 for most of these guys. That leaves about 29, 28 laps left. I don't think that they can make it to the end, so we might be seeing one more green flag stop, the money stop, before this thing's all over.
And the question now is going to be, when do you make that pit stop? We've seen that they can go about 22, 23 laps possible if they really stretch this out. Do you extend it all the way and think maybe a caution's going to come out and I don't want to be trapped by it? You're not really going to go a lap down in this process, especially if you're doing fuel only.
Oh boy.
Wow. That 05 might have some damage at this point too, because he's having a nightmare trying to handle that for Sebastian Arias. And now we got 3 wide here at the front of this pack, and this is going to get real tight now.
Yeah, you never want to go 3 wide, and then especially 3 wide with lap cars. So yeah, a lot of these guys racing with frustration a little bit after some things that didn't go their way on track, and it's showing out there. But so far, they're able to make it through cleanly. Bo Tiffany going to give the 003 of Tristan Bailey a good push. So glad to see Bo Tiffany didn't lose too much from pitting by himself from the lead. Still finds himself in 4th and working with a really strong Bud Light car there. Tristan Bailey, he was one of our final 5 Xfinity drivers last season for SRN, so he has some speed, knows how to get the wins out there, looking to do that tonight. So Bo Tiffany knows he needs to just tuck in behind him. Bo Tiffany, a playoff driver in his own right. These two know how to get it done.
And kind of going, I want to go back to what we were talking about before that pit stop happened. We were talking about the gap between the lead pack and the second pack, and how, you know, everybody working together can kind of help in that scenario. Look at this gap now. If you go from 8th place Troy Techmeyer back to 10th place Brandon Browning, which is where we were looking before, that is now a 22-second gap. And that is in large part to the amount of cars that are in this lead pack getting back up to speed. Oh, we got the 77, Jason Tripp into the wall. Is everybody working their way around him? He was trying to give some space and kind of caught it a little bit. He's also got some damage on that car already. So that was a dicey moment, but everybody getting through there. But that gap just increased so much because of the amount of power that they can generate, how quickly they can get back up to speed. And we saw how much that second group got killed by that, losing about 9 seconds in this sequence of pit stops.
Oh, now Tristan Bailey finds himself in the lead down on the inside lane in front of Michael Madden. Bo Tiffany going to see if he can get a good push from a couple lap drivers. Man, Sebastian Arias making some moves that make me nervous, and I'm not even racing out there, so these guys probably feeling the same way, but he finds himself down there on the inside lane. Bo Tiffany got a few strong drivers in his own right behind him. Nathan Nixon in that 88. Lucas Lyon's going to try and give them a good push too, but so far that outside lane falling back, losing some steam as the inside lane really tight together and really pushing one another really well. Ballesteros, he's going to jump to the outside and try to lead Bo Tiffany back to the front. These two worked really well together last time, so why not do it again here?
And I actually think, and here's two quick things. One, for Sebastian Arias, I think I know why he's racing so hard. Remember, 11th to 25th place, there's a random draw to win cash as well. He's sitting right on the cutoff of that in the 23rd place, trying not to lose too many spots there. Also have Nathan Nixon in the pack as well, who's in the mix there as well. So maybe just trying to make sure he stays up in this position. But the other thing, too, is we watch Drew Ballesteros and Bo Tiffany really link up well once again and trying to push their way back up to the front. I think Drew Ballesteros may have short pitted from where he wanted to. Bo Tiffany had to pit because of how early he came in, but he came in about 5-6 laps earlier than everybody else that last time. I think Drew thought, you know what, if I try to pull the rest of the field in now, we might be able to keep Bo around and we can continue to work together because it was working really well before.
Yeah, you know who works well with you. You make friends out there. I mean, go back to when Trevor Bayne won at the Daytona 500 in his first ever race in the Cup Series. He made friends out there in practice. Jeff Gordon knew that this guy had speed and knew what he was doing in restrictor plates, and it worked out for him. It paid off in a Daytona 500 victory, his biggest win of his career, his only win of his career in the Cup Series. And it just goes to show, you make friends and you show you've got what it takes, people will work with you. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing here with Drew Ballesteros and Bo Tiffany. Now, granted, they're not teammates at all, but they've raced with one another in Speed Racing Network. They're familiar with one another, and they know that these guys can get it done. So they've proven it once. Now they've proven it twice, and let's see if it pays off for them in the end with 20 laps to go here.
Man, I just keep thinking you're going to make friends out of anybody. You're going to get pushed, and second place going to sacrifice himself, and it's Jeff Gordon, one of the greatest of all time. That tells you how good of friends you can make out there on a racetrack as we continue to watch this. And that outside line kind of broke up a little bit there. They just lost that push behind Bo where they just weren't able to generate as much power. And they've got 5 on the outside. They've got 8 on the inside. So the inside line really going to have the priority if they can kind of stick together, but they're separating a little bit as well, but it's still working there up front because it's 3 versus 2 with a tight push there. Sebastian Arias still being very aggressive as he's pushing Michael Madden, who's pushing Tristan Bailey and continuing to be out in front.
Yeah, the little accordion effect that we're seeing up here is making me a little bit nervous, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see Michael Madden potentially want to take a look to the outside, maybe get him to the front, but it's really not enticing as you see the 54, 13, the 88, and the 7 really starting to fall back there on the outside lane and losing a lot of time here as Michael Minty is going to clear them now. He's going to move up to third. But just to point out another thing that I think the 05 is racing for, on top of that random draw, he finds himself 2 laps down. If he can get by these leaders, get back on the lead lap, and possibly take a wave around or just, not pit and go back by the leaders, he can find himself back on the lead lap and maybe get a lucky caution to get him racing for the money. So I think that's another reason why we're seeing this 05 of Sebastian Arias racing as hard as he is with these leaders, even though he finds himself 2 laps down.
Yeah, it's going to take a perfect storm for him to get back onto the lead lap. And wow, he's real loose there trying to collect it. Wow, that was a very nervy moment there for the 05. Great job in saving that, but what it does do is give the outside line a big run because the inside line had to check up to make sure that they weren't going to get caught up if he did lose it. And now we got a race once again side by side for the lead.
Yeah, that's also going to make people behind him nervous and not want to help push this inside lane. So Tristan Bailey, Michael Madden not liking that as that outside lane really starting to form up and get really tight with one another, and that's helping them get back up towards the front. Michael Madden not getting as much help from the 05 as he possibly wants, but they're going to get a big pull here from this pack in front of them. If they can clear that outside lane, that could really pay dividends and get them in front of that 54, who they're pretty much racing for with the money on the line here. We're going to see how it works out here as they approach this pack that is about almost a lap back.
And this is going to get real interesting here with this pack as well, because they're not just going to give up that lead lap position that they're on. They get trapped a lap down and somebody decides to stay out. They're going to be stuck a lap down. They won't get that that wave around at that point, but it's going to be 5 against about 11 at this point, as we see Brandon Key going to be the first victim that'll fall to this group. But they got 5 other cars, or excuse me, that was Austin Reedy. Brandon Key leading that pack, but you can see the power generated on that outside line. Just so many more cars, so much more momentum that they've got going in their direction, and they're going to be putting this group a lap down. Brandon Key going to jump out to the outside and try to trap him, and now he's going to be forcing Bailey into the middle 3 wide.
Yeah, that's not going to make many friends out there on track. A damaged car in the 11 machine. Jumping up in front of the leaders, that's not what you want when you're the leaders going by lap cars, but he had to do what he had to do to try to stay on the lead lap, and now finds himself in big trouble with no help, and everybody is just going to go on by him, including some of these lap cars that he is racing himself. So tough break for the 11, but a lot of these guys getting by clean and some great racing out there as we're coming back to the stripe to take 15 laps to go here, as this thing is just winding down quickly here tonight.
We saw a couple different mindsets on that one. There was a few guys in that group that thought, all right, they're going to pass us. We're kind of stuck at this point. And they kind of pulled off like Rob Yost. Kyle Spees kind of did as much as they could to leave as much space as possible. Brandon Key was like, nope, forget that. I'm going to try to stay on the lead lap. And he's perfectly in his right to try to do that. Yep. You're trying to stay on the lead lap. Like you said, it's not going to make many friends, but it's not anything that's, some unwritten rule or anything like that. Got to do what you got to do at that point. Obviously, neither way worked out for anybody in that group, but everybody's still kind of going out there. Everybody made it around there as we got 15 laps to go, and we're still green flag racing, so no harm, no foul.
Yeah, we're not here to make friends when you're out there on the track. Obviously, we all are friends after you take the helmet off and get out of the car, but when you're out there, you are not out there to make friends, and that shows how aggressive the 11 is, and he did what he had to do, like we said, to try and stay on the lead lap, but finds himself in the back of this pack now, and no longer, I don't even think he has the draft anymore. Oh, nope, he is behind Michael Amenti there. So able to hang on, but still not what he wanted to have happen, though. Nothing changing up front in the time being. Tristan Bailey still leading Michael Madden. Drew Ballesteros now getting by Bo Tiffany here. See if Bo decides to drop down low. He's going to stay up there and work with Tyler Murray, who we saw drop back early on. And that car is looking very clean and very fast in that 16 TJ's Team machine.
Man, we got some telepathy going right now, because I was just about to say we have not mentioned that 16 car in quite some time, but he's had a very safe and a very smart strategy, and he's found himself up in that top 5 once again in a very clean-looking 16 car, and finds himself in a really good position to be in the money here as the top 8, about a half lap ahead of the group behind them. This thing stays green the rest of the way. They'll be finding themselves getting a nice little payday here.
Yeah, it's almost like we've worked together a little bit, huh, Ray?
just a touch here on some of these broadcasts.
Well, there we see Drew Ballesteros going to the outside of the 05 of Sebastian Arias to try and get another run on that outside lane. These guys have been making this work, and here comes the third attempt for Ballesteros and Bo Tiffany with the help of Nathan Nixon and Kyle Spees, a few lap-down drivers. Nonetheless, they still have very fast cars and are doing a great job pushing these guys. Oh, gets really loose there for Bo Tiffany. Kind of scared Michael Madden there a little bit as he dropped down below the yellow line. But look at this push. They both clear Tristan Bailey, and now they find themselves in first and second.
And honestly, that was a great push, but it was also because Madden did get spooked a little bit there possibly, or at least had to back off, just kind of seeing what was going on and playing it safe. But when he backed off, that pulled the 03 of Bailey back a little bit because he just lost that push. And so that just gave a double boost basically to Ballesteros and Tiffany, who had a great run in the first place. And speaking of a good pusher, look at Kyle Spees shoving that 88 up towards the front and the outside.
Oh,
and
boy.
That nearly caught up with Bo Tiffany, who tried to cut that run and maybe leapfrog ahead of Ballesteros.
Yeah, I think he was wanting to get up there, but it just came so fast that he couldn't get up there. And luckily, we've seen netcode rear its ugly head at times when that happens, and luckily that did not happen here, because that would have been huge for all these guys in here that are sitting here in the top 8. Because, I mean, look at this. 9th place is 30 seconds back, so if they just get to the end, they're all going to be receiving some sort of payout, but maybe not the payout they want. So I think coming to the stripe this time with 10 laps to go, Brandon, I think we're going to start to see things ramp up a little bit here.
And I'm really curious to see how some of these guys utilize the cars that are a lap down or trying to fight to get back onto the lead lap or even just get back one lap down in the process, because they are definitely keeping up with speed and they're definitely being able to help with the push or help with the pull. We may see the first car across the line in this pack. If this thing stays green the rest of the way for these final 10 laps now, the first car in this pack that crosses the line on that white flag might actually be a lap down, pulling the leader at this point with how much of a mix-up that we've got here with everybody from lead lap and not lead lap. That's going to make things really interesting in these alliances that we might be seeing.
Well, something else that's going to be interesting, Randon, with 10 laps to go is they have to pit again. I'm pretty sure they cannot make it to the end. So it's going to be curious to see what's the strategy. How much fuel do you take? Obviously, you're not going to take any tires, but you got to be working with these drivers. You don't want to get left out there stranded and left behind and without a draft, because that's going to ultimately kill your chances of winning this race. So I'm very curious to see who takes what. And here we see, Bo Tiffany, Michael Madden, and that's Wimbish coming down. So all those three drivers coming down together at the same time, that's going to be huge for their chances to win this race.
And this, I think, is the first time we've seen Bo Tiffany have a little bit of help on pit road and not coming down by himself. And he's been able to stay up in the front despite going solo down pit road. Him with a little bit of assistance might be a game changer here, where we might be seeing that 13 find his way up to the front. It really depends on how the rest of this pack attacks it, though. If they split up any, they'd be in big trouble. But if they stay tight in getting into pit road and they stay tight on exit and able to really speed up quickly, we saw how that affected that first pack to the second pack last time. That might be a crucial moment here in this race if they do this cleanly, and everybody looking to be coming down from the fourth car on back.
Yeah, got to be really careful here. This is the money stop. You see everybody trying to get what they can get. Troy Techmeyer coming in real hot.
Woo!
Wow, Brandon Key gets loose in the grass. Whoa, that was sketchy for a lot of these leaders here, but they get on there cleanly nonetheless. I could not believe the 32 did not just plow through. Tristan Bailey there. Drew Ballesteros almost driving through his pit stall. Tyler Murray, I believe that is, did go through his pit stop. So the 16 having a great race. That is not what he needed to happen there.
No, and the scary thing there, if you're the 16, is if you lose contact with the draft because you had to gain a second or so on pit road, nobody going to be taking tires this time, I don't believe. It should just be gas and go just to get to the end of this race, or at least to a possible overtime if necessary. As we watch the lead cars going by once again, that looks like it's the 17 from our spotter cam up there leading this group of four, but Bo Tiffany and Michael Madden in there, and they're going to be picking up the lead here, I do believe, based on the way that they're moving around the track. Tristan Bailey not far ahead, Michael Amenti not far either. This is getting really close, and I'm not sure that lead pack of Amenti and Bailey is going to be able to have enough speed by the time they get caught.
Yeah, you see them up there just ahead. They got a little bit of a distance there, but there you see Drew Ballesteros all by himself out here trying to catch back up to Bailey and Amenti. But Bo Tiffany, who's worked really well with Ballesteros, is going to try and get behind him. Tommy Haynes going to jump up in front of them for now, but still, Tommy Haynes shown good speed here tonight, even though he finds himself a lap down here tonight. But still, here we go. It is a 7-lap shootout to the end. We'll see who comes away with it as the 54 is starting to go by. Michael Amenti here on the outside. We'll see if Tristan Bailey decides to block the run they have. Does not opt to do so, and the 54 is just going to go right on by.
And big run here, and now, whoa, Tristan
This
Bailey
is not
having to
gonna
go
be good.
below the apron. Arias and Key, and there they go.
No caution again. I just don't know if that was the move to go with there. You never, as drivers, even though they're slower there on the field, you're never expecting to see a car coming that fast below the yellow line, so nothing they did wrong. I just don't know if that was the move for Tristan Bailey there.
And that's a tough spot to be in, because he really didn't have a whole lot of room to try to make that move. And you know, this few laps to go, you don't want to be sacrificing 7-8 spots, because if he hits the brake and really slows up, he's losing everything out there and trying to stay with that pack. He's going to fall back to Troy Techmeyer, to John Wimbish and Tyler Murray back there. That's a tough spot to be in, because he really didn't have anywhere to go. But yeah, it clearly didn't work there either. That's tough.
That is a very tough break, as Tristan Bailey was sitting pretty to come away with a good payday still. going to come away with something as we see, there's still a big gap between him and the 8th place car, Michael Aminti, who finds himself about 29 seconds back. Robert Anderson sitting in 9th, 33 seconds back. So it's going to come away with the top 10 and get that entry fee back, but was looking at coming away with possibly $300 tonight. So that is going to be a tough pill to swallow.
Actually, I don't know he's going to be in the top 10 a whole lot longer. Looks like a black flag for Tristan Bailey for going below the yellow line to advance position. And that does sound like that's going to be staying there. There's a little discussion on that still going, but it looks like a black flag coming for that 003.
What would I do without you? I just don't have the radio on when I can't focus. You always have it on, know what's going on, so I appreciate the input there. It's a tough break there as Bailey is going to probably find himself outside the top 10 as he already is. See if he's able to hang in the top 25, possibly get that random draw here tonight. But, Brandon, we got 4 laps to go. Things are heating up here up front. Cars going all over the place, but so far Drew Ballesteros leading the way. Bo Tiffany, they've stuck together all night. Do you think they stick together to the end with all this money on the line?
Man, I don't know. Like that, they're sitting in a good spot. They're 6 1/4 seconds ahead of Troy Techmeyer in 4th, and John Wimbish is there as well. Tyler Murray there in that group. They've got a good gap. It's almost one of those, do you really risk it? But at the same time, it's not like a typical 1, 2, 3 where everybody kind of breaks away from everybody else and they're able to kind of having to stay single file or maybe trying to be aggressive and push the issue, because now we got helpers. There's 4 other cars in this pack that aren't racing for the same position that they are. About to be 5 other cars. That gives you some ideas that, hey, there's some chess moves that you can start making around here. And maybe having some partners out there to work your way around these cars that you typically wouldn't have in a 1, 2, 3 scenario like we're seeing play out. This is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going to happen, but so far Michael Madden, liking where he's at, leading out outside lanes, going to need a little more help from the cars behind him. That's Tommy Haynes and Wayne Rayborn there pushing. So he's going to need a little help, but nonetheless finds himself in a for sure 3rd place finish if this all holds up the way it is. So going to cross the stripe this time by taking 2 laps to go. And there we see Michael Madden starting to make a move, starting to maybe use a little bit of that side draft as they take a drag race down to turn 1.
And he had the power from that side draft, but then he got pulled back because he lost touch with the 17 and the 12 of Rayborn there. Just one of those moments where he just couldn't get a push. And he's on the radio right now telling him, like, hey, push me. Don't be shy. Like, push me right now. He's trying to get up there, but he made that move, and then he just got about a car length ahead and just didn't have that ability to get that boost from the 17.
Yeah, we saw it again there. He gets really close to that inside lane, just putting air on their rear spoiler, kind of putting a little bit of drag on those cars on the inside lane to kind of bring them back. That's the beauty of side drafting. So we're going to come back to the stripe this time to take the white flag. 1 lap to go here at Daytona.
I tell you what, I really like the inside line here on this final lap, and it's not so much because Ballesteros and Tiffany have worked really well together, but that 3rd car in line a lap down, Kyle Spees, he's been one of the best pushers all day.
Yeah, that 36 has been fast. He knows what he's doing here at the Super Speedways. Has nothing on the line. Oh, Ballesteros gets turned. Bo Tiffany also going for a ride. That's going to give the lead to Michael Madden here with really nobody in sight.
It's going to be uncontested at this point. He's got 6 seconds back to Troy Techmeyer.
Yeah, the next
unbelievable.
Next flag ends it, so this is a for sure win here for Michael Madden as long as these lap cars lay off of him here. As he comes off of lap 4, he's going to see the checkered flag waving here. And the 224 of Michael Madden is going to pull off a heck of a win here tonight at Daytona and put some more cash in his pocket here.
Yeah, Wayne Rayborn first across the line, but that was he's got 1 more lap to go now because he was the first across the line. Michael Madden 2 laps ago was telling the 17, like, hey, don't be shy, push me. That last lap after that happened, he was thinking, all right, don't push me anymore. We're good. You can lay back at this point because that was the last thing he wanted was going to push in the wrong place. But unbelievable to see Daytona. A group of 7 cars, and it's 6 lapped cars and a race leader all by himself, uncontested for the win. But that's what we had here in a really interesting but a really largely clean super speedway race here with just 1 caution, a couple other incidents thrown in there, but 1 caution, and Michael Madden another time up here picking up some cash in the Rat Pack series.
Well, he's about to go celebrating here with a heck of a night here. just finds himself always running up in the front here in these races as a few other cars go on by, finishing their race they were a little bit further. Oh, and that is exactly what I was worried about here. A lot of cars way off the pace. Nonetheless, that thing is still moving. He is going to burn it down for us here down in Daytona Beach, Florida. He is feeling good. I don't know how long he'll be able to celebrate with the smoke going out of the car, but he's going to have fun doing so either way.
Got a nice little assist there on some high-speed donuts at the line.
Yeah.
I believe that was Brandon Browning maybe that came across there. I think that was the 24. But either way, after the line, he's good to go. And Michael Madden, once again, picking up a nice little payday here.
Yeah, Bo Tiffany going to still come home second. And there you see Troy Techmeyer, who was 6 seconds back, way off the pace, comes home in third, netting himself a little more cash in his pocket. Tyler Murray, who we saw with the pit road incident there at the end, going to come home in fourth. And John T. Wimbish, our pole sitter tonight, going to round out our top five.
Drew Ballesteros was up near the front, actually up in front at the white flag. He'll wind up in the sixth position, and that big gap back there to the second pack really helping him out there. Robert Anderson will be in seventh. Craig Lautenslager will finish eighth. Andrew Santo will be in ninth. And Wayne Rayborn, we saw him just ahead of Michael Madden coming to the line. He'll take home the 10th position.
Yeah, Brandon Browning going to come home 11th. Bobby Anderson in 12th. Aaron Roth in 13th. Kyle Spees in 14th, and Tommy Haynes going to round out that top 15.
Chris Bishop will be in 16th. Tristan Bailey had that just tough moment there, tough choice that he had to make. He'll be the last car one lap down in 17th after the black flag from that. Jason Tripp will be the 18th position finisher. Nathan Nixon in 19th, and Michael Amenti will round out the top 20.
Well, there you see the celebrations happening on the track. That car is destroyed after taking a hit from the cars that were still finishing their race, but nonetheless holding up pretty well as he's still burning it down here on the track. But let's go ahead now, Brandon, get to the interviews. I'm sure we got a lot of excited drivers after that finish, and one of them going to be Troy Techmeyer after coming home in third. Troy, heck of a race out there tonight, just holding on to the very end. Get yourself a third-place finish, a little bit of cash in your pocket. How you feeling after that one?
Yeah, I'll take it. That last pit stop kind of kept me from running for a win there. Don't know if I would have got it or not, but I would have had a lot better chance if I didn't come in so hot and heavy there. And then I passed up my pit a little bit, had to back up, so I lost some ground there.
Hey, it actually might have helped out in a way, though, keeping you away from a little bit of that trouble that we saw in that last lap. But the real weird thing about this race was just how clean it was. We did see those little incidents everywhere that kind of popped up here and there, but only one caution in this race. Did that throw you off any or change any strategy that you might have had as this thing played out?
No, not really. My only strategy on these super speedways is pretty much try to stay with the lead pack and not really race for the win too early.
Yeah, I mean, that seems to be a smart strategy after you come home third today. Congratulations once again on that. But before we let you go, Troy, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a shout out to?
Oh, yeah, I'd like to say thanks to all my family that watches and any other fans I don't know about.
Hey, I'm sure you made some tonight after pulling off a heck of a third-place run here in the Rat Pack Racing Cash Dash. Congrats again on pocketing some spending money here, and go have fun celebrating with all your teammates and stuff.
All right, thanks, gentlemen. You guys do a good job every week.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Well, that was Troy Techmeyer coming home in third, and like I said, coming home a little bit richer after tonight's Rat Pack Racing Cash Dash. But the man I want to talk to, he worked his way up to the front all night. Bo Tiffany coming home in second. Bo, congratulations, man. Heck of a run out there tonight. You worked really well with Drew Ballesteros. Unfortunately, found himself in some trouble there at the end, but you still came home with second and a little bit of cash in your pocket. Tell us about that race and what the strategy was all night.
Just to stay up front and try to stay clean, just not try to race too hard there. Lap to lap, trying to stay off these guys through the corners. These cars with this fuel load, man, they get wicked loose when the fuel load burns off. So it was just trying to only push straight on the straightaways. And I was looking at my in-car, man, I got to apologize to Drew. I didn't think I was into him that much. I really wanted the three of us to kind of race it out there. I mean, him and I, we pulled up through the field there, being 3 seconds back. When Madden came to pit road with me, that's what saved us from keeping up with the draft. But a lot of fun, still doing it one-handed, but we're getting back to it.
An impressive run, and really impressive because there was a couple times we thought you were in a lot of trouble there coming down pit road by yourself under those green flag pit stops, but you were still able to stay up in front. How were you able to pull that off? Because that's incredibly difficult to do here.
I think it was just timing on speed coming to pit road, honestly, because the problem was when I got that pulling that second pack up to the lead, it just burned all my fuel off. So I lost like 2 laps of fuel to everybody else, which is why I was telling the guys, like, I got to pit. Like, I'm going to pull it down and get out of the way because I was 2 laps short of everybody else's fuel run.
Well, still worked out for you nonetheless. A heck of a long green flag run, but you still made some good friends out there that got you up to the front of the pack. So congrats again on getting you a little bit of spending money here this weekend. And before we let you go, you got any friends, any sponsors, any family you want to give a shout out to?
Not just everybody. I mean, you guys in the booth are doing an awesome job, and everybody that's worked behind the scenes to put this deal together. I mean, we're 3 races into this thing. I don't think people get enough credit for all the time and effort that goes in behind the scenes to put this stuff together. And really just all the people that are following us out there, Facebook and YouTube and everything else. And appreciate Speed Racing Network for jumping in with all this too. So just hope it continues to grow. Appreciate my parents that are watching, probably my wife and everybody else is normal. So.
Hey, man, well, we appreciate you and all the thanks and for bringing all the fans and family to watch as well. It means a lot to us and what we're doing here at Speed Racing Network. So congrats again, man, and we look forward to seeing how you do in the next race because I imagine you'll be back out here again, right?
Yeah, looking forward to it, man. I appreciate all you guys as always, so thank you for a good broadcast.
Well, go heal up that arm and get back out there with 2 arms and bring it home in first next time, buddy.
We're getting there.
Right.
Thanks, guys.
Yep, take care. Well, that was Bo Tiffany coming home in second after a heck of a run up to the front. But we got to get to the man of the hour, and that's going to be Michael Madden, who finds himself in the broadcast booth. Once again, Michael, congratulations on winning tonight's race. Your heart was beating after last weekend. I imagine it's probably doing the same here again this weekend.
Yeah, last time was a little more friendly faces around. This time was just kind of, I need to go buy a lottery ticket, man. or switch my car to 224 because that thing is lucky and fast. So
yeah, it seems to be working out for you. But tell us about the strategy, and it seems like you just want to stay up front again all night.
Yeah, I got run over on that first or second pit stop, and I had to take my fast repair. And then I just tried to find somebody. I was trying to work with Bo on that last pit stop because I know all those guys are coming together. I didn't want to get run over or lose time off the lead pack. So we got a good little 3 trio going, and it kind of just worked out where lap cars were stacking up, and it was pretty wild, man. I bet it was fun for you guys up there to watch. It was heart-wrenching down in the car.
It was definitely interesting watching, and you might be the first person that can ever kind of explain this. What's it like coming to the checkered flag at Daytona uncontested where you got 6 lap cars around you but nobody else on the lead lap?
Yeah, I was just yelling at the 17, push me, man. Like, this is for all the marbles. And he luckily just kind of got back up on me. It was very weird. I couldn't – all night the top was going – was the preferred line if you wanted to get a run on the bottom and go. I couldn't clear Drew. So I think there was a big bubble there, and I was just trying to keep telling him to close it. And luckily chaos, broke out. And I don't know if it was net code or whatever it was, but it kind of freed up the 13 and the 54 and kind of skated home free, and that was all she wrote.
Yeah, that's all she wrote indeed. But nonetheless, you come home in first place tonight, still starting to add some cash from this series. But before we let you go, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to thank all the Rat Pack boys. Might have to get on the payroll after this one with Duke. But always want to thank Sparkle Shine, all the Rev guys for helping me out all night. And hey, man, this is 2 in a row, so I'm looking to be the super speedway guy in SRN this season. It's looking weird, but hopefully we keep the luck going.
Yeah, you're going to be making some friends out there that know this guy is fast, so we'll look forward to seeing how that works out for you once the SRN season comes. But, I mean, we still got a couple more Rat Pack races to go, so I imagine we'll see you out here next time, right?
Absolutely, boys. Good job tonight. Thank you.
All right, good job to you as well, and I'm sure I'll be talking to you in that Rev Discord, man. Have a good night.
You too.
All right, Brandon. Well, that was a heck of a race. Not like the first 2 races that we saw. It was green for darn near the whole race, and that's exactly what we want to see when you come to super speedways and see who is the best super speedway driver.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a very different race than what we've seen. And in fact, we only had 2 drivers disqualified from the incident count this time, as opposed to the amount that we were seeing in the first couple races. People really understanding the process of that you got to make it to the end of this thing to actually finish. And we did see a couple little moments pop up there, but, that one caution, a big thing. And it all leads to Michael Madden maybe need to be thinking about IRS implications of this series here pretty soon.
Oh, yeah, but before we get done and wrapped up here tonight, we've got Dave Hughes Jr. in the booth who likes to hand out a couple extra awards. We got the random driver finishing from 11 through 25 or 25th to hand out an extra $20 to, and I believe we have the EPI halfway award to address as well. So, Dave, take it away.
Yeah, so we actually don't have the halfway award this time. So don't have this one, but we do have the random finisher. So I'm going to hit the old random start generator right now. And the position that is going to get that is going to be the 22nd finishing position. 22nd.
So is that Lucas Lyons, I believe?
I got Lucas Lyons on my end. Is that what you're showing too?
I am showing Lucas Lyons, so he is going to come away with his entry fee back after finishing 22nd. Our random driver coming away with that money here tonight. So thanks again, Dave, for that and all you do here with the Rat Pack Cash Dash, and as well as David Duke. You guys do a great job.
Yeah, we appreciate it, and we appreciate you guys with the broadcast, and hopefully it was as exciting for you guys as it was for us in the admin booth. I think the guys put on a great show tonight.
Oh, yeah, we had a blast. So looking forward to race number 4 in another 2 weeks, I do believe, and it's going to be an exciting one there as well. So
yeah,
appreciate you, Dave, and have a good night, bud.
All right, thanks, guys.
Well, there we have it. That's going to do it for us tonight, Brandon. Let's give another quick shout-out to all of our sponsors. We keep saying electric or Elite Performance Industries. No halfway award today, but nonetheless, they are one of our title sponsors here at the Rat Pack Racing Cash Dash. Go ahead and check them out if you're looking for any type of setup, any type of coaching, paint schemes, any type of apparel here that you could possibly want on iRacing. Go check them out. And obviously, Flavor Bomb at fbbbq.com, Sparkle and Shine Mobile Detailing, Alley.Duke at minivanvacations.com if you need any type of travel agent, which we all need a vacation already this year. And then Dave Jr. Graphics as well. They do a fantastic job as always, Brandon.
Absolutely. Thankful for everybody that's jumped on. A lot of great partners there. A couple that we're very familiar with from the SRN series the past couple seasons. They've jumped on this one as well. And always great to see some new sponsors come into a series like we have with Elite, with the EPI. And just always thankful for these guys for jumping on.
Well, that's going to do it for us tonight here at Speed Racing Network. We had a great race out here at Daytona International Speedway. Please check in with us again for the next Rat Pack Racing Cash Dash, as we still got a couple more to go before we kick off that Speed Racing Network series starting on February 22nd with the duels at Daytona. So for all of us here at SRN, for myself and Brandon Domain, we leave you with good night and go faster.